All right, welcome everybody to Pharus Global Live at 5. My name is Brian Hartman, and we are on episode number 13. Man, does it go fast. We are live here at Pharus Global, Pharus Plaza, 1859 Southeast Port St. Lucie Boulevard in Port St. Lucie, Florida. You can drop in anytime to say hi. As long as we're here, we're happy to see you. Tonight we're going to be talking about, are you getting what you want from your business? Very important topic, and I'll tell you a little bit about our guest in a minute. Pharus Global is a consortium or ecosystem of services which you can find at pharusglobal.com. We like to say that we can help businesses from the cradle all the way to the exit, and happy to be able to talk to you about all the different services and entities we have kind of under one roof, almost like a one-stop shop for business. Pharusglobal.com, you can check us out. So today's guest, we are very excited to have Franck Saragossi from The Profit Recipe. Frank has over 20 years of experience in international leadership with branded consumer products, including Cartier, Tiffany & Company, Pandora Jewelry, and Bata Shoes. His experience encompasses all channels of distribution, from manufacturing, wholesale, franchise, retail, and even e-commerce. As a country manager or general manager of Pandora Jewelry in Mexico, Frank established the subsidiary and opened 60 points of sales, built a team of over 300 employees with sales of $80 million within only 2.5 years. Frank helps business owners and entrepreneurs run their businesses instead of their businesses running them. Everybody wants to know how to do that. And he does this by implementing the simple yet powerful tools from Entrepreneur Operating System around vision, team, and execution. Frank has a Master of Business Administration degree with concentration in executive management from St. John's University in New York, my home state, and a Bachelor of Science in Economics and Finance cum laude from the University of Hartford in West Hartford, Connecticut. Frank currently lives with his wife, Cheryl, in Boca Raton, and they have 3 children of their own. And with that said, let's say hello to Franck Saragossi. How are you?
Hey, Brian, how are you?
Hey, awesome, awesome. Love that you are with us tonight. Excited to hear all about what you have going on. And there's a lot going on, right, Frank?
There sure is. Thank you so much for having us, first of all. And I'm glad to know that you're also from New York, right?
I am born and raised in Brooklyn, New York.
Oh, fantastic.
So, been down here 26 years, so it kind of makes me a native Floridian, but I'm still a New Yorker at heart.
At heart, right. Don't lose that.
Yeah, never will, never will. So we're excited, Frank, to learn about, are you getting what you want from your business? This is a challenging time, a challenging year, and I think a lot of people want to know if they're getting what they want from their business. So why don't you start off by telling us a little bit about The Profit Recipe? I'm excited to know what that's all about.
Yeah, so to put this a little bit in context. So obviously, South Florida is a booming economy because of the influence of Latin America. The truth of the matter is that it's one of the fastest, most prolific areas for entrepreneurs in metropolitan areas of above 1 million people. So pretty active from the economic perspective. Unfortunately, with what's going on with COVID, also the one that is being probably affected the most, right? So we have formed a group of like-minded individuals who have experience in business and entrepreneurship. And we're here really to help businesses get the most that they can from their business. And basically what we do is that we implement tools from Entrepreneur Operating System And what we do is that we focus really on three areas, which is vision, traction, and healthy. So vision is all about making sure that the people in your leadership group are behind a vision, and that we know exactly what it is, and we're all pulling in the same direction. Traction is all about accountability. It's all about making sure that we're aligned, that we are accountable, that we're working towards certain objectives, and that everybody in the organization is doing the same thing. And third is healthy, which is really about people, making sure that the leadership team is playing well together, which doesn't always happen, and that we are working well together, a cohesive group and healthy. So that's a little bit about the profit recipe. That's what we do, is that we work with companies that are between 10 and 200 employees, small and medium size, really agnostic to the industry, that want to grow. And really, that's the most important characteristic, is that the ownership is ready and willing to let go of the status quo and move forward. And that's what we do.
Sometimes it's hard for them to let go of that status quo, right?
It sure is. I mean, we're entrepreneurs. That's why we're here. I know that I came from an entrepreneur family abroad. That's why I have a little bit of an accent. It doesn't come from South Florida, nor from California,
or even New York.
Nor from New York. No. So I grew up in Africa, actually. So my father had paint factories in the Congo, in Africa. And so from very young age, I saw the influence of what entrepreneurs can do, and not only to their community, but also the life of an entrepreneur. And that's rather tough. So letting go is tough because it's your baby. And because it's your baby, there's a lot of passion and energy that goes into it. And really our task is to take them out of it, so that they're not working in the business, but on their business. And through that distinction, they're able to actually get more out of it.
Totally makes sense. I'm curious, what would you say percentage-wise of the business owners that you connect with, how many of them actually have a vision?
That's a great question. And most entrepreneurs have a vision. So depending on the stage of the business, if it's still the founder, and founders always start because by default they have a vision, but it's not necessarily translated to the employees. And the leadership team may have an idea, however, really crystallizing it, this is what our 5-year plan is, this is what we stand for, this is our product, and this is how we're going to communicate to the market, is not necessarily well defined. So that's the type of clarity that we bring. In terms of percentage, that's a tough one. I think that the majority of people, I would say, have a vision, but it's not communicated to the rest of the team.
So it's a vision, but not necessarily in alignment with everybody.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah.
Got it. Before we continue, this has been great so far, Frank. For anybody that has any questions for Frank, please drop them in the comments and we'll be happy to get to those. Whether you're coming from Facebook, LinkedIn, or YouTube, you can drop it right into the comments and we will get to those as soon as we can. If you're on YouTube, please make sure that you hit the little bell so you get notified, and please like our show, so this way more people get to see us and learn about what Frank has at the Profit Recipe. So let's continue on, Frank. I love this next question because people have heard of EOS, and a lot of them probably don't have a clue of what it actually is, what it does, and all of that. So what is EOS, and how does it work, and how do you implement it?
Yeah. So EOS it stands for Entrepreneur Operating System. And it actually I'll go back a little bit in the history of how it started. It's a great story, great entrepreneur story. Gino Wickman is a person who, 21-year-old entrepreneur, got called into his family business. saw that it needed a turnaround and spent a lot of time doing that. He managed it for 7 to 8 years, and ultimately sold it. Ultimately, what happened during that same time frame, he was a founding member of EO, which is Entrepreneur Organization. It's an organization that's really made for entrepreneurs. It's a peer group, and he was a founding member of the Detroit one. And he realized that he had a knack and a passion for helping small businesses. So he got into the consulting of helping companies, and through that, he actually put together EOS, Entrepreneur Operating System. And really what he realized when he did this consulting for many small businesses is that there are 130 different problems that come up, but if you solidify the 6 fundamental key components of it, everything sort of falls into place and you're able to manage your business. So that's what EOS is all about. It's really how to structure, how to manage, how to execute on the key 6 components of your business.
So it sounds like it's a way to get business owners a lot more focused on what they need to do inside their business.
Absolutely, and this is not rocket science in the sense that it's not a silver bullet. It's not something that is. These are business principles that, from my corporate career, I instinctively knew that I was using, and when I discovered EOS, it was a simple yet powerful way to transmit this communication and to implement it. So really, we have 80,000 companies that are using EOS. So it's a tried and proven system that works. It takes a little bit of commitment for sure. And that's why the owners have to be willing to let go and to be open and honest and willing to move forward.
Oh, they have to be honest too?
They have to be honest. Yeah, that's definitely.
I don't know about that. So we talked a little bit about how EOS got started. What do companies? Why do they need the EOS? What's in it for them?
So it's sort of like you have a lot of self-help books, and you can certainly get a lot of. You can read a book, Traction by Gino, and he has a whole collection which are fantastic. The only difference is that we're not consultants. The business owners are the experts in their business. We are the experts in the system. We help them execute. So what we do is that it takes us a lot less time to help companies have traction than if they were to self-implement, to try to do it themselves. So do it yourself crowd, we have a significant portion, I'd say probably around 25-30% of companies that have read the book said, hey, this is great. I'm going to start implementing it myself. And after a few months, they realize that it's not that easy. So another benefit of being hiring an implementer is the fact that we're a third party. We come in and we get the whole team together, and we get their buy-in into it. So we hold them accountable. That's why it's really experiential learning, in the sense that we come in with tools and we teach them for a full day. Then they have 30 days to practice it. We come back 30 days later and we see how they did, and we go to the next step. And then we go to the third step after having made sure that they understand that, become experts in the tools that we've taught them so far. So we wear many hats. We're teachers, we're facilitators, we're coaches. At the end of the day, it's about moving the needle as soon as possible, making sure that we execute. And that's what businesses want, ultimately.
Got it. So it sounds like the EOS can be a do-it-yourself, but potentially could be a do-it-yourself, and probably a lot of business owners think they can do it themselves, but doesn't necessarily turn out to be that way. And I would think also, like many other things, it's a system that could also become shelf help, and they buy it and never implement anything with it, right?
Absolutely. So there's a bunch of resources that are available, and I would encourage everybody to go on our website, theprofitrecipe.com, or EOS Worldwide, buy the book, and you'll find all of the steps to do it. what we bring to as an implement is we have the magic sauce of when to do it. There's a certain timing that should be respected to really get the most impact out of it, and to make sure that your whole team is together in it. Because the worst thing you can do is you can have a visionary who is fantastic at new ideas. That's why he founded the business to begin with.
Mm-hmm.
But you need an implementer. You need a COO, so to speak, who can really manage the whole process, different departments, making sure that everybody pulls together towards that vision. So there's really a separation of function. And for companies that implement well, and I would say that this is not a seminar. This is not hey, I'm going there after 4 hours. I got all the knowledge I need, and I'm gonna walk away from it. This really takes a little bit of work, and it's usually a 18-month process, right? So we meet every 30 days, and then once we've laid the foundation, we move into the execution, and then we come in every quarter for a full day. And then we do the annuals as well. And the idea is that really the companies that implement it, and you mentioned that we're together in an organization called Grow Florida, the purpose of which is to really help second stage businesses get to the next level, right?
Right.
So those are the ones that really understand the value of a system that can help them execute. And the better they can execute, the better they'll have the vision, the better they'll be able to actually have a life.
Makes sense. And Grow FL is actually how we connected to begin with. Great organization. Great organization. So, so if I'm understanding it correctly, you can almost potentially go into a business and work with each various department within that business to be able to make sure EOS is being implemented properly throughout the whole organization. Am I on the right track?
Yeah, definitely on the right track, Ryan. What we do is that we come in, we work really at the leadership level first, right? We want to make sure that the leadership has this vision, has attraction, has the accountability, and is working well together. And with that, usually it trickles down to the rest of the organization. If that doesn't happen, then we usually come in and we're available to come in and say, hey, where do we have the issues and how can we help? The truth of the matter is that at the leadership, it's very important to have the right people at in the right seats. And that's an unbelievable, we talk a lot about it because I would say the majority of the issues that we have in the organizations is really the misalignment of people. And we have to make sure that everybody's on the right page and is willing to do the job in the role that they're supposed to be doing it. So we work through that discovery process of really making sure that everybody is aligned, and then trickle down to the second and third level that we need to.
Got it. So are you working with the HR part of the businesses as well? Does that coincide together?
Yeah, so actually that's an important tool that we do, is that we have an accountability. The first day we sit down with our customers. It's called a focus day, and it's a full day session, 7 hours plus or minus an hour. And one of the first things we do is really tackle the accountability chart. We don't call it an organizational chart. We call it an accountability chart. And it's a very, very important distinction. I come from the corporate world. I've seen a lot of organizational chart. I've seen a lot of dotted lines, a lot of that's a new hybrid type of organization. And the accountability chart really means that you have one person that is responsible for one function. And it's not and that function really is, you have one person that's responsible. You can have one person that's sitting in different functions. As the company grows, that's usually what happens. But you can never have two people in one function, because then you lose total accountability of who does what. Mm-hmm. So we spend a lot of time on the HR, making sure that we have the right people sitting in the right seats. So the first task we do is we have an accountability. We customize an accountability chart, and that really makes sure that we have the right structure for the company. And then we go to the second step, which is filling the right seats, making sure that the right person is in the right seats, doing the right function.
Yeah, I often hear that that's the toughest part of many businesses is finding the right people for the right position.
Yeah.
And I would imagine that you probably uncover situations where people should be in different positions within the company that they might be better suited for, right?
Absolutely, and a lot of that talks to really getting. We have this expression: you get it, GWC, you get it, you want it, and you have the resources, the capacity to do it. So, and that has to be. That's not an island by itself. It has to be mixed with the core values, meaning that. And every company has this, and it's not something that you put on an HR part of the HR wall, in the cafeteria. This is what we stand for. It's really who we are. It's really so we go through a discovery process to really identify who it is that we are, and that really determines if we have the right person in terms of core values. And it's a great way to attract people and to repel people as well. Once you have that, you have the right person that shares your values, then you go into, are they in the right seats? And if you're part of an organization that if you're the right person, have the right values, then you probably are going to find the right seat for that person if they're sitting in the wrong one. The reverse is a problem because then you have a great person that is delivering, but it doesn't share the core values. That's a little bit more of a hairier situation.
Got it. Got it. What do you find when you're working with clients? Are you working mostly with the CEOs of the company, or do they kind of hand it down to the COO, or what do you usually see out there?
So we usually we have to have the CEO. The CEO has to be part of it. He's usually the visionary, and he's also the integrator at times, the person that's also doing the operation side of the business. And we need to sit down with all the people that make decisions in business. So it could be the sales and marketing head, could be those functions could be separate. They could be one. Anybody that is in the delivery of the service or the product should be at that table. And the finance person and all the other departments that have decision-making process in the management of that company. That's including the CEO. Those are the people that we sit with. Those are the people that we will work with in terms of a leadership team. And that's really who we want to get the vision behind, make sure that everybody's aligned, that we're all accountable, we're all working well together. That's the first step and the most important, because as they go, everything else goes.
Got it. Got it. So, when you're I guess, what's one of the scenarios or the worst situation that you found yourself in when trying to implement the EOS to a business? What one story sticks out to you?
I'll tell you, one of the most difficult that I've encountered is really if you don't have the buy-in of the leadership of the CEO. So oftentimes you have very well-intentioned CEOs that say, yes, I want to grow. Yes, I want to move forward. Yes, I'm not comfortable with the status quo. And you start the process and you realize that they're so entrenched in the day-to-day and they're so vested that they have a hard time pulling back. And that takes a little bit of finesse. And if they're able to do that, overcome that barrier, great things happen. Mm-hmm. Because then, the world is open and the whole leadership team says, wow, I can really move forward and I'm empowered to do so. The challenge I've seen is just the contrary, is that, you have, as well-intentioned as CEO may be, he's not ready to let go. And when that happens, there is really no way to move forward, because everything else comes down to, it just doesn't work.
I would think it's probably got a high failure ratio if a business owner is retracted like that and not willing to let go, because it probably hurts in the long run when it comes time for an exit. How do they exit? How do they sell a business like that, right?
Absolutely. And, you touch on an unbelievable point, is that we have great success with companies that have want to exit and have implemented EOS, simply because it really gives a big comfort level to the buyer that the business is structured in such a way that it's not dependent on one person. It's not only the owner that is the center of all decision making, has his hand in all the hats, because in that case, you're very right. There's nothing to sell, because if the owner leaves, then there's nothing there.
Right.
And the whole idea is really for an exit strategy is to build a company where the owner can step out and the business is running on its own. And as a visionary, they're coming in with the big ideas. They're coming in with the new markets. They're coming in with the pulse of where the trend is, and that's the value added. And all the operational part of it is really handled from their organization. And that's really the value of for business brokers and for companies that want to exit, is to have that stamp of accomplishment, so to speak. Hey, I follow EOS, so I've gone through it. It gives a certain amount of comfort that there is an exit strategy and that it will be successful.
So I think it comes down to the old cliche that the CEO needs to work on his business, not in his business, right?
Very much so, very much so. And the truth is that it's a cliche, but so real, very real.
So we learned about the EOS. We learned about why companies need it. We talked about actually getting it implemented, and you guys come in and make sure of that. But if a company wants to engage you, what does that process look like?
Brian, it's very simple. Number one is there has to be a commitment. There has to be willingness to do that. And if that happens, then really they can contact us directly on the email that you have scrolling back down there on my cell phone, or they can go onto our website, www.theprofitrecipe.com, and they can book a 30-minute discovery call. And that really allows them to, any ideas, any question that they have, to sort of iron it out and see if we have a good understanding of what is expected. The second step is really, and this is a free complimentary 90-minute call that we have, and we ask that the whole leadership be invited. And that's where we have the buy-in from everybody at the decision-making level that joins us, and we explain what the process is. We find out a little bit about themselves. We tell them a little bit about us. Then we go into the entrepreneur operating system process and really the model. And with that, at the end of that, we basically know if there's a good fit or not a good fit. We're not for everybody, but once there is a fit, then really the next step is really we just go into the focus day and we move forward with the process.
Awesome. So you mentioned that you're agnostic, so you don't focus on a specific industry, but is there one particular industry that you find can utilize this a lot more, or is it kind of well spread out?
Brian, I think that I said in the beginning that we are agnostic, industry agnostic, simply because if you have an organization that has people and you have to lead and manage people, we can probably help you. So from that perspective, whether it is we have clients that are in the marketing space, we have clients that are in the light manufacturing space, we have clients that are in the service industry, whether it be financial, whether it be law, CPAs. We have really, it is a process of doing business more than it is and there's two assumptions. Number one is that you're in the right market, and number two, that you have the right product or service. If you have those, then we can help you. If you don't have those, then we're probably not the right fit.
Makes sense. Well, I think we covered all areas. Can you think of anything, Frank, that we didn't cover? Anything that you wanted to mention? Anything else?
Yeah, I would say, we're all about execution. We're all about the people side of the business and the execution part of this business, because you can have a great vision, but if you don't have the people to execute on that vision, it's not going to happen. Mm-hmm. And, to any of the listeners out there, I would encourage them to reach out to us. We would, offer that 90-minute complimentary visit.
That's huge.
And we will give you immediately tools that you can use whether you choose us to do the implementation or not, it's worthwhile.
That's great. And people don't realize it, but 90 minutes is a long time. You could fit in a lot of good information in there.
Absolutely. And our guarantee really is that it is going to be useful, and that it is, you can use it without, whether you choose us or not, you can use it and go ahead with it and have an impact.
Sounds like people should be picking up the phone. 90-minute free session. That doesn't get better than that. And I think you'll see why you want to work with the Profit Recipe and with Frank. And if we have nothing else at this point, I really appreciate you being on the show.
Thank
you. I wish you a lot of luck in the future. You guys have a great business going there, and I think everybody should take advantage of the time to spend with Frank. He's a world of knowledge and a ton of experience. And you're only like 25 years old and have all that experience, right?
Thank you so much, Brian. I want to also tell you, thank you very much for inviting me. And, the Profit Recipe is not only me. We have a group of there's 6 of us. So that's a power of this group, of this firm, is that you have you'll have somebody that really you can connect to.
Awesome. And
thank you very much, Brian.
Quick shout out to Pete Praviti. He said, thanks, very informative show. So thanks, Pete, for joining us.
Thank you, Pete.
Frank, once again, really appreciate you. For everybody that is out there, if you'd like to be the next guest on our show, it is our Live at 5, Pharus Global. Please reach out to us. We'll be happy to have you on, and we're trying to get as much exposure for businesses that can help businesses. And so with that said,
thank you, Brian.
Have a great night.
Thank you.
We'll see everybody soon. Have a good night, everybody.
Thank you. Good night.